Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. I'm gonna tell you where to actually get the money to add trade lines up to $70,000 worth of trade lines on your credit report. Okay, now the reason you want to add these trade lines, there's three main reasons that you want to add these trade lines, right? And so the first one is to increase the credit score. All right, now let me explain to you why this is going to help you in some ways and why it may not help you in other ways. All right, and the reason is because of the credit bureaus. All right, so let me explain it. All right, so you have FICO 8, FICO 9, your Vantage 3, your Vantage 4. Okay, and you have your mortgage. Okay, so those are the main ones. Plus now you also have your trending. Okay, so those, you have like 6 credit bureaus that are looking at your credit file. Okay, now this has nothing to do with the third-party credit bureaus in terms of influencing whether you get approved or not, and I'll explain that as well. But here's the thing about it: whenever you adding trade lines to the credit file, okay, if it's not a primary trade line, then a lot of times, like your FICO 8 won't recognize it. Okay, and there are certain ones that I'm going to tell you what they won't recognize. All right, now here's the thing about it so you understand. Your Vantage 3, your Vantage 4, and your FICO 9, those are the easiest credit bureaus to influence. All right, because those credit bureaus, they change between 3 to 4 times a month. So when you have bad credit and you add these type of trade lines to the credit file, once they show up, they're going to have the biggest impact on those credit files. All right, so some of you all may not have ever seen what your mortgage score is. Okay, and that's the reason I tell you, you need to see your real credit file whenever you're looking for money. All right, now that being said, looking at the trade lines, if you're trying to get $75,000 in trade lines, I'm gonna explain this to you. So that's the first one, to boost up the credit score. The second reason is to reduce your debt to income ratio. All right, now here's the reason why that's important. A lot of times you can even have an 800 credit score. However, with certain financial institutions, like most of your credit unions and your bank, whenever you go over that 55% threshold with your DTI, your debt to income ratio, then they will still deny you, even though you have perfect credit. Okay, it's just you have a high debt to income ratio. That's the reason why, again, these type of trade lines is to help you. Now, the third reason these trade lines help you is because you're trying to get higher limit credit cards, lines of credit, or loans. All right, so that's the reason why these here trade lines help. And again, I'm going to tell you where, once you add these trade lines, where you should actually be going to actually apply for credit once these trade lines are added. All right, now the first one we're talking about for us, the trade lines, and then we'll get into the money. All right, I've been telling you guys that shop IFJ online. Okay, shop IFJ online. The reason is because they give you anywhere from $8,000 up to $15,000 trade line. It's a line of credit. Okay, and the thing about it is that it's not a maxed out loan, and I'll explain why I said that in a minute. The reason this here is important is because when you have bad credit, okay, and you're trying to get back into the credit game and you're trying to boost up your credit and stuff, this will give you the biggest influence. Now, I would be transparent, and I tell people, if you have a 700 credit score, all right, this may not be the best product for you. All right, now this is a jewelry company. Okay, so that you understand this is a jewelry company. And so by being a jewelry company, you would go in, you would purchase a piece of jewelry, okay? Then once you purchase that piece of jewelry, you will fill out the form. Usually when they send you out a form, it may go into your spam folder or your trash folder. But you need to fill out that form in order for them to put the trade line on your credit report, okay? So just buying a piece of jewelry is not going to help. You actually have to fill out a credit application. They do not do a hard pull on the credit. The reason they need this information is so they know that they have accurate information about your credit file, so when they post the account, all right? So that's very important for you guys to understand, all right? Now, here's the thing about it. Well, some people, when they go to the website, they see, well, you have to put $1,500 down, and then you have to pay, like, I think it's $125 a month. Not always. They have different pieces of jewelry, okay, that you can actually pick, okay? And so some of those pieces of jewelry are very, very reasonable, okay? I wouldn't say cheap, I'll say reasonable, all right? And that are less than $300, less than $200. I think I seen something on there where you can get a piece of jewelry, I think it's maybe less than $100. However, when you fill out that application and stuff, they actually give you a line of credit up to $8,000. Okay. So, and then you would make monthly payments. I think it's like about, I think, like I said, it's about $125 a month for 4 consecutive months. Then that trade line stays on your credit file. I think it's either 24 months, 12 to 24 months, something like that. But when you go to the website, you'll be able to see that. So that's the first one, since it goes up to 15,000. All right. Then the next one is, again, with Tomo. All right. Again, I know Tomo is a charge card. Okay. However, again, they go up to $30,000. All right. Now, some people may not like Tomo, and that's cool. But at the same time, if you're trying to get trade lines that are primary trade lines to add to the credit file, then that's exactly what you want. All right. Now, the next one, again, and I speak on it, which is Credit Strong, right? So with Credit Strong, they give up to, I think it's what, $20,000. But I always tell you guys, do not go over $5,000. And the reason why I tell you not to go over $5,000 with their loan or line of credit is because usually, like with their loans, if they give you a $5,000 loan, that loan is already maxed out. So you don't want a maxed out loan hitting your credit, okay? So that's the reason if you go for the minimum, the $5,000 and making payments on that, that one's fine. But you do not want to go over that, all right? Now, that being said, you have a National Credit Direct. If you're familiar with like a Renter Center or something like that, National Credit Direct, they're similar to that. Now, their minimum account is like $500, right? So you have other ones that's going to help you. Now, with those are your primaries, all right? Then you also can add on your secondaries, like your authorized users. Now, with your authorized users, when you add that on, remember I said that the FICO 8, FICO 9, the Vantage, the mortgage score, all right? So when you add the authorized users on it does not influence the FICO 8. All right, so just keep that in mind. Also, all authorized users, the history is not going to transfer over. All right, so that's also something. So if you have somebody that just got a brand new $25,000 credit card and they add you on as an authorized user, is not going to have a big impact on your credit score. And the reason is because, one, it's brand new. Okay, so there's no history there. All right, you need to have authorized users anywhere that's 2 years or older. If they're 2 years or older, then it will make it much easier on you. All right. Then also, by that aging, the credit file is also important. So when you put on like the Tomo, you put on the Credit Strong, you put on that Shop IFJ Online, right? When you put those on, those are new trade lines. So since those are new trade lines, you're going to make your file look like it's brand new. So that's the reason why you have to go back and you need to add on, like I said, the authorized user, the right type of authorized users. You can add utilities, okay? So with, what is it? Identity IQ, okay? So with Identity IQ, what it is with their program, they have a program that you can add on your utilities to your bill, and so they will backdate it to actually age your credit file. Okay, so that's the second way to age your credit file, right? And so also adding on your subscriptions, also adding on the rental payments. Now the rental payments is one of your biggest pushes. Reason is because your rental payment history is going to help you qualify for a mortgage. So if you're trying to get a government mortgage, a FHA mortgage or something like that, adding on rental history, because usually they look for 2 years of rental history, okay? Adding that on is not only going to help age the file, but also it's going to help you qualify for a mortgage. That's the reason why I tell people, if you're trying to get into the real estate game, make sure you have rental history on the credit file. That way you can get a HUD loan, you can get an FHA loan with multifamily units and stuff like that, right? Or you can buy a piece of land and then get a 203 loan and have a property, a constructed property with multi-units on it like that. So that's the reason why I tell you all to make sure you have that rental history on, right? Now, in reference to the loans to help you pay for these type of trade lines, the personal loans are to help you pay for these type of trade lines, you want to go to like Low Credit Finance, all right? So they are a platform. However, they work with tribal lenders, okay? So since they work with tribal lenders, that's going to make it much easier for you to qualify, whether you're on welfare or disability, okay? Because with those type of platforms, the minimum income after taxes is usually about $500, all right? So that's one where you can get a loan from. Then you have Avant. If you have a minimum income of about $1,200 after taxes, then you can go there. They give up to $35,000. Then you have Opportune, right? So Opportune, if you making at least $500 after taxes, they give up to $10,000, all right? Then you have Big Buck Loans. Big Buck Loans, they offer up to $5,000. The interest rates is 5.99 up to 35.99, because I know that's a real big one for a lot of people trying to make sure they find a loan that's reasonable with a lower interest rate. Now, with your tribal lenders, the reason why the tribal lenders are so effective is because, again, they focus more on your availability to pay, okay? Now, here's the thing about it. They're going to use third-party credit bureaus to make sure, one, you're not scamming. Number two, make sure the information is correct. Number three, to make sure that you haven't filed bankruptcy with any of their companies in the past. So those third-party credit bureaus are going to be like Clarity, DataX, Factor Trust, Teletrack, okay? Then you have LexisNexis, right? Now, here's another interesting thing about this, so you understand, is that with these here type of credit bureaus, because they have outdated information, old addresses and stuff, that's the reason that you having a hard time being approved, is because they're holding on to outdated information. So if you stayed in apartment A and you moved over to apartment B and then you put apartment B on the application, then that's where they're going to actually go to. Now, another place that you can actually get an interest-free loan if you actually are working a job, now I'm not saying you have to have a job in order to qualify for these loans, but if you are working a job and you want an interest-free loan, you go to your HR and you file your W-4 form. That's going to stop them from taking income taxes out of your check so you can bring home a bigger paycheck. And then you can use those that capital to add trade lines onto the credit file as well. Okay, so I hope this video helps you. I know it's a lengthy video, but I appreciate it if you guys give me likes, share the information. If you have questions, you can always schedule a one-on-one consultation. So let me know if this is a strategy that you guys would use in order to help increase the credit score and get more funding. Thank you.